How's it going, Talk For Us TV? My name is Jack and welcome to my preview for the Norwich game taking place at the City Ground on Wednesday night. So yeah, obviously it's going to be a difficult game. Norwich are by far and away the best team in the league this season. I think they're 10 points clear at the top, an unassailable lead at this point. You know, you may as well say that they're promoted already. Bar an almighty Leeds 2018-19 style collapse, they'll be up. They'll be up without a shadow of a doubt. You know, when they got relegated, they did such a good job with the players that they kept hold of. You know, they managed to keep hold of Pukki, Buendia's a huge one, Cantwell, Aarons, you know, just to name a few. They let some players that you might have been a bit surprised that they didn't try and keep hold of, like what's his name, Jamal Lewis. But it shows they managed to bring somebody in, arguably doing better than him. He's not been too great at Newcastle, so, you know, it was a smart sale. Maybe people didn't quite think so at the start when he did sell, but to be fair to him, they've done really well this season. And pardon me, even when they've had injury issues, like you look when we played at them at Carrow Road, they had so many injury issues. They had to play like a central midfielder at left back, and you know their third choice keeper. But they've managed to just keep grinding out wins. They've got some really big wins over the course of the season. And it's going to be a very tricky game, very, very tricky game. And I wouldn't be surprised if we come out with absolutely nothing at all and maybe not even a goal. Yeah, I think in terms of looking at our most recent form, a draw in our last game, before that was 2 losses. You know, it's not looking too good in our past couple of games. But I think if we can keep plugging away, we'll be fine. I don't know if we'll get anything from this game on Wednesday night, but in future games to come, like I know we've got Birmingham towards the end of the season, Preston, you know, probably looking at getting 4 to 6 points out of those 2 games, you know. So I think it's important that you know, we don't let this sort of run get to us. I think we're pretty much safe now, looking how many points we are away from the relegation zone. I think we're something like 8 points or something like that, and at this point in the season, that's pretty decent gap between us and the bottom 3. So we should be okay in terms of that. And that this game is a game that there's going to be a lot of fans, if we just get turned over here, who are going to be going on social media, oh, Houghton needs to go, he's not brought any progression to the team. You know, last season we were coming up against teams in this sort of position in the league and we were doing well against them. You know, we've struggled this season, or we look lacklustre, we can't string a pass together. You know, we'll be lucky to stay up next season, let alone go up. And you got to realise, you got to take it with a bit of context. Norwich are by far and away the best team in this league. They could blow any team away on their day, and you know, we have a problem scoring. You know, it's not down to how good we are or how bad we are, or whether, you know, Houghton's the right manager. We should get Wilder, which I don't really think is the best idea. But you know, you've got to take this game with a pinch of salt. It's not a game that we're going into expecting to win. It's not a game against the Wickham, a Rotherham, a Coventry, a Derby. It's a game against a team who are top of the league by an unassailable lead, an unassailable margin. So if we go into this one thinking that it'll be nice to get something out of it, but more than likely we won't, then it'll make it a bit more. It'll sort of give us a bit more. I don't know, I guess you can just see the game in the light that it's supposed to be seen in, and not the light of a game where we should be going into this one looking to get all 3 points and play some dazzling football, because it just won't happen against Norwich. They like to keep the ball. They play the dazzling football. They will. They've got the players capable of doing it, and I think, you know, if we do lose, it's not the end of the world. I think it might be 2-0 Norwich. I think the scoreline might be. I think on our day though, we could get a sneaker 1-0 and park the bus. I can't remember who it was. Someone said, oh, it was when I was watching someone talk about the Arsenal game, and they were saying Arsenal park the push bike. Yeah, so, I mean, in some games we have parked the push bike, but yeah, I think if we're on form and everyone's on job, we could sneak a 1-0, quite a resolute defensive display if we frustrate the Norwich attacking players and, nick a goal on the counter-attack or a long-range like Amiobi strike or something like that. We could be okay, but I'm not really going into this game too optimistic. I'm not going into this game sort of expecting a win or anything really from it. I think it's other games like we've got towards the end of the season that we look to sort of get the points just to secure our place in the championship next season. Then we'll go again to where maybe next season we can be in these games right to the end of the season where we're looking to try and get the wins against higher placed teams, try and keep momentum going into the end of the season. I think now it's just about getting the points on the board from the teams that we know we should be getting points on the board from and just consolidating our place in the league. So in terms of the starting 11, I think Samba starts in goal. Question marks over Samba over the past 2 games. 2 goals that we did concede in those 2 games. You saw the one from Adam Messina went straight at him. He went straight through him, if anything. The one from Yaku Mete, it was a strike that went underneath him, which was very disappointing to watch. He's made some really, really good saves, and it's more of the difficult ones that he's dealing with. You see some of the saves you pull out and you think to yourself, my goodness me, like, how has he done that? And then you look at some of the saves and you think, my goodness me, how has he not saved that, So I think he's got to start. I don't quite get this Brace Samba slander that you see on Twitter where people say, he's not been good at all this season, he's never been good. Last season he was quite lucky, we were lucky as a team. I think, he has been good and he's really dug us out of some situations, and in some games, if it wasn't for him, it could have been a lot worse. I look at Huddersfield away early on in the season, one of the Sabri's last games. He was incredible in that game, and if it wasn't for him, it could have been 2, 3, 4 for Huddersfield. At the end of the game, it was only 1-0. It was a brilliant Fraser Campbell goal that won it for them. It's okay that sometimes he makes 1 or 2 mistakes, but you've got to look at every single save he makes, other than the mistakes, and he keeps in a lot of games and wins us a lot of points in these games where we're sort of camping on the edge of our box, trying to keep hold of a 1-0, 2-1 sort of lead. The back 4, Christie starts for me at right back. I think he's had a real resurgence lately. He's not been 100% in every game, like 100% fantastic in every single game recently, but he's been a lot better than he has been. I think Wigan, Watford, he might have had 1 or 2 sort of spells where he wasn't so great. He was sort of at fault for the goal against Swansea, but I think recently in the last 5, 6, 7 games, he's been really good, and he's been a cut above. Like early on in the season, I was giving negativity against him. I was saying he wasn't great, he couldn't do this, he couldn't do that, his positioning was poor, but he's been a lot better recently, and he's been throwing himself at the ball, and he's been looking like he's a lot more stronger in terms of his all-round play, and he's got to start for me. Left back, I'd like to see Ribeiro start. I'm not sure why he didn't start against Reading and why Bong started, but I'd like to see him back. He offers energy and pace down that left hand side. The 2 centre backs, if Worrell's not fit, then I'll stick with who we had within McKenna and Figueiredo. Two holding midfielders. I think Cafu and Garner work really well together. I think they've got a really good partnership going on. They've done well since they both came in, and they've not really needed much time to gel together. They were thrown in together against Coventry and Wickham, and they did a really good job together. And I think that those 2 together have a good understanding. They've developed quite well with each other, and I wouldn't see any reason to change them. In terms of the wingers for me, I'd like to see Amiobi start, but be a little bit less greedy, I suppose the word would be. He likes to, I've mentioned this so many times, he likes to get the ball and shoot from, the halfway line pretty much. If he can maybe give the ball away and get into a better position, receive it back, we could see a bit more positivity in terms of that. But I'd start him against Norwich because he can offer that little bit of excellence when needed, and then I'd also go with Mighton on the left. Just raw pace, just raw. He's not afraid to run at a player, take on a player. I'll definitely go for him. In terms of the number 10 role, I'd have Kravinovic. He's been brought off early in the last couple of home games, so it'll be interesting to see whether he sees a full 90 out. But yeah, I'll give Kravinovic a go. And then the front the front man, it's difficult because we've got obviously three players. None of them are in any reign of good form. I know Murray did well to force the own goal. If he wasn't, if Holmes didn't stick it in the back of the net, he would have been Murray right behind him. But he's not been amazing recently. Graben's lacking that little bit of cutting edge, that little bit of confidence. And Taylor, he comes off the bench now and again, and he sort of doesn't really do much. He slows the game down. His first touch is poor. I think Glenn Murray will probably start, but I don't know. Maybe if we give Taylor a start from the off, it might allow him to grow into the game a bit better and offer something different than having to come on and try and help us protect the lead. If he has to go and try and get us goals, it might be a bit more of a different story for him. So I'd go with him up front. So yeah, if I'm being realistic, I'm going to say 2-0 Norwich. If I'm being positive, I'll say 1-0 Forest. So yeah, that's my starting 11, my preview and my prediction. So if you did enjoy, smash the like button. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to all of Dan's channels. I'm sure they're all linked below or somewhere they can be found on the channel. And yeah, thank you for watching. And come on, you Reds.